Hey everyone, this is Fatal Courage Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Snowpiercer Season number 2, Episode number 4, which is titled A Single Trade. And I enjoyed this episode. It focused a lot on the relationship, the weird relationship between Miss Audrey and Wilford. And yeah, stuff happened that I wasn't expecting. I was surprised with when we got to see the interactions between these two during the end of the episode. And also we got to find out what Josie will be going through as this series progresses. But yeah, coming back to the episode, we have Miss Audrey. She's all up in her emotions and she's doing this dance and she's talking about the concept of trade and that everything in Snowpiercer works on trading, and it's up to you whether or not what you trade and what you get or what you receive in return is worth the cost of something that you're supposed to give up. And we get to see that, yeah, Audrey and Wilford were basically together before Snowpiercer was stolen by Melanie. And in the past 7 years, Audrey did a lot of work to distance herself away from Wilford. However, now that Wilford is back, her past demons are resurfacing, and yeah, let's see what happens to her. She is an emotional mess, and I do like Miss Audrey as a character, and I really hope that nothing too bad happens to her. And as she's dancing, she notices her arm, and we get to see that, yeah, during the past 7 years or something, Miss Audrey did try to take her own life. And then we get a scene where Wilford ends up sending a message to Layton, and Root goes and delivers the message to Layton. And it's basically Wilford offering his doctors, the gel that the doctors created. Wilford is offering Layton that he can help the patients who have frostbite on Snowpiercer, and they can use the gel and heal. And Layton is like, you know what, that is a very good offer. But again, coming back to the trade and the core concept of this episode, what does Mr. Wilford want in return? We know that the gel can help Josie. However, there are a total of 14 patients on Snowpiercer that the gel can help. And Layton is really deciding whether or not he should take up Mr. Wilford on the offer. But then again, Wilford wants something in return. And during the scene, we get to see that Root notices that Layton doesn't trust her fully, even though Melanie told Layton that he needs to start trusting Root. And as Root is taking Layton's reply back to be sent to Big Alice, Root stops and she reads the letter herself. And I was like, you know what, this is understandable. If I was in Root's shoes, I too would read the message in order to see whether or not Layton lied to me. And then we get to see Alex taking the message to Wilford, and Alex is like, yeah, Layton replied to your offer. And Wilford is like, what does he want? And yeah, Alex is like, you know what, that's exactly what Layton asked. Like, what do you want in return for such an offer, Mr. Wilford? And before this conversation continues, I'm going to talk about how, even though Melanie is outside trying to collect data in order to see whether or not humans can begin colonization again, Layton, of course, Wilford doesn't want Melanie to succeed, and he's like, you know what, it's been 3 days that Melanie has been gone. We haven't heard anything from her. Maybe she's dead, right, Alex? And yeah, he's basically testing Alex. He wants to see whether or not Alex is still emotionally connected to her mom, and she is. So yeah, coming back to Layton's question about what do you want in return, Wilford is like, you know what, of course I want to come back to Snowpiercer, so why don't we go for a night out on Snowpiercer and let's see what happens there. And this is also where Alex basically jokes about Wilford still being in love with Miss Audrey, and Alex realizes that, yep, Wilford wants to reconnect with Miss Audrey, which again, we don't necessarily know what happened between these two. And as I was watching this episode, I was really looking forward to learning more. And we did get an answer, and of course, it was weird. So while all of that's happening, Bess is basically trying to figure out who ended up attacking Lights and whether or not it's the Breachman. And she is still trying to figure out who is working for Wilford. And she goes to the tea cart, and it's basically a religious place for other people who want to remember the people they lost. And Bess is basically experiencing survivor's guilt, which, yeah, it makes sense. And while that's happening, we cut to Harvey and Ben. And yeah, again, it's been 3 days since Melanie has been gone and they haven't heard from her. And Harvey is like, you know what, Ben, you have to continue trusting Melanie. She'll be all right. We'll find out tonight whether or not she survived and whether our plan to see if there is an area for humans to survive is feasible or not. And I really like the scene between Ben and Harvey, and I'm not really sure, but I think that Ben is going to die this season. It's just a feeling that I have. So Leighton decides to talk to Miss Audrey because, yeah, Ruth told Leighton about Miss Audrey's relationship with Wilford. He doesn't understand the entire thing, and this is where Miss Audrey basically tells Leighton and the audience about what happened between these two. So since she was 18, she has been working as an escort. She has been hosting parties on the Snowpiercer, and she was exclusively Mr. Wilford's. And yeah, it wasn't a healthy relationship. And Leighton is like, you know what, Miss Audrey, you have to do this. You have to use your connection with Wilford in order to get closer to him and see if you can help support Snowpiercer. And Miss Audrey is like, you know what, Leighton, I'm not going to do this for you. I'm not going to do this for the rest of the Snowpiercer residents. I'm going to do this for myself because this is a chapter that I want to close. Which, you know what, more power to you, Miss Audrey. And it's time for Wilford and the rest to get ready for their night out. And this is where Alex again jokes about Wilford wanting to meet his girlfriend, Miss Audrey. And that's something that doesn't sit well with Wilford. He snaps at Alex and he's like, never joke about Miss Audrey being my paramour. She's not. She's basically a poem. And he's like, you know what? She's the one who has Snowpiercer's soul in her hand, and if you want to take control of Snowpiercer, you have to keep Miss Audrey on your side. Which, okay, Wilford, if you say so, because I'm not really sure if Wilford will be able to make Miss Audrey fall under his control again. But you know what? Let's see. So while that's happening, it's time for Wilford to decide the 3 people that he'll take with him to the night car. And yeah, this is where we get to see Amelia. And Amelia is basically someone who takes care of laundry, I guess. Or she was supposed to take care of laundry on Snowpiercer. And she is, I'm not really sure if she's friends with Alex, but these two are bunkmates. And Wilford is taking the names of the people out of a hat. And Alex is like, you know what, don't worry, Amelia. I was sure to include your name in there, and guaranteed you're going to come with us. And that makes Amelia very happy. And then again we cut to Snowpiercer, and of course Leighton, Ben, Roche, Ruth, and Miss Audrey are worried about what Wilford has planned. And Miss Audrey is like, you know what, there are a lot of people who still believe in Wilford, and him coming onto the Snowpiercer is going to rile those people up. We need to be very careful. And Ruth is like, I know that you guys are suspicious of me, but I need you to understand that I'm loyal to the train. And everyone is like, okay, Ruth, we understand that. So Bess is talking to Pastor Logan, and yeah, this is where these two talk about survivor skills, about how billions of people on Earth died and only like 2,000 or something people are still alive, and that's the kind of survival skill that can really, really do a number on a person. And yeah, I really hope that Beth understands that it's not her fault and that she finds a direction in her life. And I really want her to reconnect with Oz. I do think that even though they weren't the best of friends, like Beth needs someone to support, to be supported from, and I think that Oz can give her that support that she wants. So the doctors come onto the Snowpiercer, and they're going over the patients who need the gel, and yeah, the gel is working. And this is where one of the doctors in the clinic asks the Haywards what's inside the gel, and Mr. Hayward starts talking, but Mrs. Hayward is like, no, I don't want you to give any secrets away. And Leighton is like, there is one other patient that we would like you to see. And Ruth is like, you know what, I know that you're going to take the doctors to meet Josie, and as hospitality I need to escort them. And yeah, Leighton basically ignores her. And yeah, I'm not really sure why Leighton is doing this, even especially because we know that Melanie told Leighton to start trusting Ruth. So the doctors meet with Josie, and they're like, yep, this is a lot of damage, so we'll need to take her to Big Alice. And while that's happening, we see Root talking to Zara, and Root is like, you know what? Leighton doesn't trust me, Zara. I need him to trust me because I need him to understand that I'm loyal to the train. And Zara is like, Leighton, yeah, Leighton has issues trusting you, but don't worry. Zara is like, you know what? Why don't I join hospitality, and that way I'll keep an eye on Leighton, and I'll also share information with you, and we'll work together. And of course, that sounds like a good plan to Root. Leighton and Josie are talking about whether or not Josie should be taken to Big Alice, and Josie is like, Leighton, you have to let me do this. If the Haywards can help me, that's something that I want to try, and also I'll be on Big Alice and a trial to find out what Wilford has planned. And this is and Leighton does bring up a good he brings up a good point about who the heck told Wilford that the people on Snowpiercer needed the gel? And I think that Wilford knew that you were injured at such an extent, and that you will be needing the gel, and that you're connected to me. And Josie's like, yeah, it is what it is, but we'll cross the bridge when it comes to it. I have to go to Big Alice. And while that's happening, Pike and Terrence are having a conversation, and it turns out that due to the border between the Tail and Big Alice, the Tailies have started to gain more power, and Pike is like, you know what? Maybe the janitorial or the sanitation department will be losing their power due to because they'll end up being a geopolitical tragedy. Who knows? And of course, that doesn't sit well with Terrence. So maybe Terrence will try to do something to hold on power. Maybe he'll try to connect with Wilford. Who knows? So we see the Tailies attack the Breachman, and Lights is like, I know that you're the one who hurt me, and yeah, the Breachman is like, no, it wasn't me, but there are other people on Snowpiercer who are loyal to Wilford, so you need to watch out for them. And a fight between the Breachman and the Tailies ensues. And yeah, it's time for Alex, Amelia, and other two people to go to the night car, and everyone is excited. However, Wilford comes in and he makes sure to let everyone know that this night is about him. This night is about him meeting old acquaintances, and he doesn't want anyone from Big Alice to step out of line. And yeah, he basically tells them to behave. Bess, Leighton, and Roche are trying to figure out how to handle the fight that happened between the Tailies and the Breachmen. Leighton isn't happy, and even Bess is like, you know what, Tailies? I told you that I am figuring this out, and yeah, I know that tensions are high because Wilford is coming back on train, but I need you to trust me. And she also warns Leighton that he needs to keep his eyes open. Then we get a scene where Miles finally, after like 3 episodes, and in episode 4, he finally ends up meeting Josie, and Josie is like, Miles, I didn't want you to see me like this. And Miles is like, you know what, Mom? You're a hero, and I'm glad that you're alive, and I'm okay with you going to Big Alice because you need to be healed. So we get a scene where all of the Tailies are supporting Josie because to them she is a leader. She's the one who led the revolution, and it's time for her to go. And yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen to Josie in the upcoming episodes. So it's time for Zara and Leighton to go to the night car and meet Wilford, and Zara is in her hospitality uniform, and Leighton is like, you know what, did Root put you up to this? I don't like you being a member of hospitality. And Zara is like, no, this was my idea, you have to trust me. And she ends up changing Leighton's look because she wants him to look more like a man of the people instead of some sort of a king or a boss like Wilford. So Wilford and Leighton meet each other, and Leighton is like, this is a very important moment for everyone because today we are going to make contact with Melanie, so everyone enjoy. And Leighton and Wilford sit down, and Wilford is like, oh, I'm very interested. I'm very intrigued by your journey about how you led a revolution, and then you ended up taking over my train. And Leighton is like, with all due respect, Mr. Wilford, this isn't your train. And I was like, ooh. So Miss Audrey comes out and she ends up singing and giving us a performance. And this is where Miss Audrey and Wilford reconnect with each other. And she takes him to the back of the night car where she allows other people to go through therapy. And she also told Zara that if she isn't out in 30 minutes, then Zara should come in and help her come out. We see Audrey taking Wilford into the room, and she's like, "Yeah, I changed the night car, and I made the night car into a place where people who are grieving can let out their emotions." And Wilford, do you have any guilt? And Wilford is like, "No, I don't have any guilt." But Miss Audrey is like, "You know what, Wilford? Or Joseph, let this give this place a try. I need you to open your heart to me." And this is where these two start connecting to each other on an emotional level. And while that's happening, the rest of the people are connecting with each other, and the last Australian ends up meeting with Amelia, and we find out that Amelia is from Perth, and these two start having a conversation. Beth ends up hitting on another woman, and they make out. And while that's happening, Alex ends up talking to LJ, and LJ and Alex remember each other from when they were very little girls. And LJ is like, "You know what, Alex? Come with me. I need to show you something." And I was like, "Uh-oh." Alex doesn't know that LJ is basically crazy and she might end up killing her. So coming back to the Australians, this is where the last Australian ends up giving these goggles to Amelia, and he's like, "You know what? Wear these and someone will help you, and I need you to take care of yourself." We get to see that LJ took Alice to this dome where they're able to look outside of the Snowpiercer in a very interesting manner. Like, I want to be like under that dome. And these two connect, and these two talk about their parents. LJ parents are dead. However, Alex's mom just came back into her life, but now she's gone. And yeah, I'm kind of okay with these two striking a friendship. But then again, I don't trust LJ. I think that LJ is planning something. So back to Joseph and Miss Audrey, and as these two are connecting on an emotional level, like, this is a scene that really shocked me. It turned out that similar to how Wilford manipulated Kevin into taking his own life, he also did the same thing with Audrey when like 7 years ago. And it turned out that it was Wilford who manipulated Audrey into taking a razor and cutting herself. And Audrey is like, you made me take my own life. And Wilford is like, "But I saved you. And I have this connection with you. And Audrey, I want us to go back to how we were. I need you. I want you. So I want you to treat me like you used to." And it was a very, very weird scene. So it turns out that Wilford knows that Audrey has some sort of psychosexual power over him, and he's okay with it. It was very, very weird. So Zara comes in to check on Miss Audrey and Wilford, and she's actually of course, she's shocked to see Miss Audrey feeding mangoes to Wilford like that. It was a very, very weird scene. So that's why I'm very interested in seeing where the writers are going to take the relationship between these two. So yeah, coming back to Alex and LJ, as I said, they are bonding over their parents, their loss and everything. And LJ is like, "So Wilford is the one who raised you, right?" And Alex is like, "Yep." And again, I don't trust LJ. So Alex comes back, and it's time for them to hear from Ben and Harvey about whether or not Melanie was able to survive, and she was able to pick up on a signal and send them a signal too. And Alex is like, "You know what? Wilford thinks that Melanie is dead." And Ruth is like, "What do you think, Alex?" And Alex is like, "If there is someone who can survive outside, maybe it's going to be my mom." So she's still holding on to hope. So everyone is waiting, and Wilford is clearly not happy because, again, he doesn't want to lose control of Snowpiercer and Big Alice. He wants to continue being a king. He doesn't want humans to start moving outside the train. So Alex and Harvey tell everyone that, yep, Melanie was able to pick up on a signal. And I was actually happy. I was expecting Melanie to show up in this episode, but she didn't. But yeah, I guess that Wilford is going to do something to sabotage the plan. Let's see, because you can see from his face that he is not happy. He really isn't happy. Leighton is like, "What the heck was that between you and Wilford?" And Audrey is like, "You know what? You don't have to worry about anything. I have Wilford where we need him." And Leighton is like, "Are you sure?" Audrey is like, "Yep, I'm sure." And you know what? Personally, I don't think that Miss Audrey has control over Wilford, at least not to the extent that she expects. But let's see what happens between these two. So the episode ends with we get this shot where Josie is in the same ward where Icy Bob is, and both of them are healing. And Josie feels that someone is looking at her from the door, and she turns her head, and yeah, it was Wilford, but she doesn't know that it was Wilford because as she turned her head towards the door, Wilford was already gone. So yeah, it's clear that Wilford has some sort of plan for regarding Josie, and if he knows that Josie is connected to Layton, I think that he's going to do something to use Josie to hurt Layton somehow. Let's see. And the episode ends with this message, which was, yeah, a very important message, especially after everything that happened in this episode. I will be doing a written review of this for the Geekery. The link to the review will be down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of the episode. I am looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in episode 5. And I really hope we get to see what Melanie is up to. But yeah, let me know what you thought. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later. Bye.